Because of his job, Louis moved his whole family out to the countryside. When they arrived, Ellie instantly loved the place. Then out of nowhere, a massive truck came roaring past the house, startling Rachel. The next day, Louis headed to the hospital like usual. Rachel stayed home cleaning with Ellie, but then they heard a strange sound. Following it outside, they found a group of masked kids dragging an animal's corpse. Rachel assumed it was just some weird local ritual or a kid's game. After getting home, Ellie couldn't stop thinking about those kids. While Rachel wasn't paying attention, she slipped outside by herself. After walking for a bit, she spotted a sign that read Pet Cemetery. She kept going and realized the woods were filled with little graves. Just as Ellie was looking around in confusion, she turned and noticed a path blocked by tree branches. Curiosity got the better of her, and she started climbing over it.
Hey! You get down from there!
Ellie lost her footing and fell down the other side. That's when she met Judd, the family's only neighbor. Judd introduced her to the pet cemetery. They had only talked for a moment when Rachel came looking for her. Judd warned Rachel to keep a close eye on her daughter. People go missing in those woods all the time. The next day, just as Louis was about to head to work, their neighbor Judd stopped him. Judd took him down to the roadside, and right away Louis recognized it. It was his daughter Ellie's beloved cat. Judd said it was all those damn trucks' fault. To keep Ellie from getting heartbroken, the two of them decided to secretly bury the cat that night. Later that evening, they grabbed their tools and headed to the pet cemetery. As Louis was digging the grave, Judd suddenly asked him if his daughter really loved this cat. Louis said this cat meant everything to her. Hearing that, Judd picked up the cat's body and told Louis to follow him. They first climbed over that tree barrier, then crossed a shallow stream filled with what looked like white bones at the bottom. Eventually, they reached the base of a hill and climbed up a ladder. Once they got to the top, Judd told Louis to bury the cat there, and after that, pile stones on top of the grave. He also said this was something Louis had to do alone. Not thinking too much about it, Louis buried the cat right there. The next day, the couple told Ellie the cat had gone missing, but Ellie insisted it wasn't gone at all, it was in the closet. Confused, Louis opened the door, only to be shocked to find the dead cat had somehow come back to life. He couldn't believe it, because he had personally buried it with his own hands just the day before. He couldn't make sense of it. Still full of questions, Louis went to see Judd, the neighbor who had buried the cat with him. But Judd refused to explain anything. With no answers, Louis turned to his computer and started researching. He found some information about the pet cemetery, but beyond that, he came up empty. At the same time, Ellie was brushing the cat's fur. Then without warning, the cat suddenly attacked her. Frightened, she ran off immediately. Louis quickly cleaned and bandaged her wound, then went back inside and told Rachel he was getting rid of the cat. But just as they were about to go to bed, the cat showed up again, this time chewing on a dead bird. Furious, Louis tried to throw it outside, but the cat scratched his arm and bolted downstairs. When Louis followed it, he noticed a strange door. He stepped through it, and somehow found himself in the middle of the woods. Then a voice echoed around him, warning that something terrible was coming. Before Louis could even process what that meant, a giant truck suddenly came speeding straight at him. He jolted awake, staring at the door in confusion. Not ready to let it go, Louis went back to Judd for answers. This time, Judd finally told him the truth. The burial ground beyond the pet cemetery had the power to bring the dead back. Anything buried there could return to life. Judd said years ago, his dog had died in an accident. An old man told him about that place, so he buried the dog there. The dog came back home, but after returning, it wasn't the same, it had turned violent. Judd had no choice but to kill it again. Since his dog had already been aggressive before, he assumed Ellie's cat would be different after coming back. After hearing all that, Louis drove the cat far into the wilderness and left it miles away from the house. Once he finished, he went home and held Ellie's birthday party. Later, Ellie and a few friends started playing hide and seek. She ran off by herself and hid near the road. When she turned around, she saw her cat had somehow found its way back. Overjoyed, she ran toward it. But she had no idea a speeding truck was barreling straight toward her. Her little brother saw her run off and chased after her. When Louis turned around, he spotted his son near the road. He reacted just in time and pulled him to safety. Even though the driver swerved the truck at the last second, it was already too late. A horrific accident took the man's daughter from him. Rachel couldn't accept what happened, so she took their son and went to stay with her mother for a while, but Louis couldn't let go either. Unable to face her death, he dug his daughter's body back up from the cemetery. Then he carried her to the burial ground beyond the pet cemetery and buried her there, believing the place could bring the dead back. Late that night, Louis lay in bed, waiting for his daughter to return. Then suddenly, he heard something coming from the basement. He rushed downstairs and pulled back the curtain, only to find a mask hanging there. Just as disappointment hit him, his daughter suddenly appeared behind him. Louis was overjoyed to see her back, but while helping her get cleaned up, he noticed something terrifying. The skin on the back of her head had been stitched together. Even after seeing that, he ignored it. He changed her into clean clothes, and the two went to bed. The next morning, Louis noticed she had somehow changed back into the dirty clothes she was buried in. He stepped toward her, about to ask what happened, when she suddenly snapped and started smashing things all over the house. Louis had no choice but to yell at her to stop. Just then, Rachel called. Maybe Louis didn't want her finding out, because he hung up without saying a word. Worried, Rachel brought their son back home. As she questioned Louis about what was going on, their dead daughter suddenly walked into the room. Rachel stared at her in total disbelief. After Louis explained everything, the girl immediately stepped forward and hugged her mother. But Rachel couldn't accept what she was seeing. She shoved the girl away, grabbed her son, and ran upstairs. Louis rushed after her, trying to convince her to accept this new version of their daughter. But Rachel knew the truth. Whatever came back, it wasn't really their child anymore. Then Rachel noticed the girl standing outside the door, secretly listening. Louis ran out to chase after her, but when he reached the hallway, she was gone. At that moment, the girl had already gone into the kitchen and grabbed a large knife. She walked into Rachel's room, and while her mother was resting, she suddenly appeared and drove the knife straight into her. In pain, Rachel shoved the girl away and grabbed her son. Running into another room, she screamed for Louis and told him to catch the boy. The moment Louis took his son, the girl came up behind Rachel and stabbed her again. Louis rushed the boy out to the car first. When he came back inside, Rachel was already barely holding on. When Louis woke up, Rachel was gone. Desperate to find her, he headed alone to the burial ground beyond the pet cemetery. But before he got far, he suddenly heard his daughter's voice. Before he could react, she drove a knife into his back. Louis dropped to his knees in pain. But she was still just a child, and he quickly overpowered her. Just as he was about to finish her off, a metal rod suddenly pierced straight through his body. The one who killed Louis was Rachel, brought back after the daughter buried her in the cursed ground. Mother and daughter looked down at Louis one last time, then dragged his body away. In the final moment, the little boy sitting in the car saw all three of them walking toward him.